because I ain't got my glasses on. I can't see. And that's what I was saying. I can't see. Can you hear me? Okay, I got you. I got you. All right. Okay. So, oh, so y'all ain't heard shit. We are at ground zero as far as emotion goes and where the healing process is. And I told y'all that I was going to have to take 3 days um, to sit with self and to sit with spirit. Child, I got to put these on real quick because I can't see shit. To sit with self and sit with spirit. And me and Maya stopped for this Mexican dinner because she hadn't eaten anything, and so we stopped so we can get something to eat. And so we're eating and we're talking and we're talking about emotions and we're talking about, what we have experienced in life. And her question was, have you ever told someone something? Like, have you ever told someone something and they didn't give you a positive reaction? They did not give you, you know, they just like kind of shut you down. And I started to tell her, yes, about my experience. Like, I just feel like I'm gonna just come out my body. But I understand this is the healing process. Some of y'all may not know that I lost a baby. And it wasn't like a full term baby, but it was a pregnancy that I wanted. A lot of you don't know that when I was 18, I was engaged to a Gino. And I had my daughter, she was 17 months old already. And I wanted to have another baby, and so I took the steps to get pregnant. And I didn't know I was pregnant until I knew that I was pregnant, right? And so this whole experience of it, you look at that with your little short tail. This whole experience of it was very traumatic for me, and I kind of, because of all of the shit and abuse that I suffered in my life, I have become very numb to my own feelings and emotions. I have become detached from my own self, you know, and I found out I was pregnant like 3 days later. Um, I started having I went into a miscarriage. Like my numbers started to drop very quickly. I went to the hospital, went through the whole process. My baby fell out in the toilet. But before that, I was like bedridden after I left the hospital. And I laid in the bed. I did not have any support. It was just me and my 17-month-old child, who was very loving, but she's a baby, and I feel like I didn't have any support. So when I started to go into the miscarriage, I had called my sister. And me and my sister today were really good. But at this point, I had called my sister, and I told her I was crying, like, I'm losing my baby. And her reaction was, well, what are you crying for? And I was so broken and shook, I just slammed the phone down, you know. Um, and then later on, the baby fell out in the toilet, and I screamed. I just screamed because I felt it. It came out, and I didn't take it out the toilet. I flushed it. I laid in bed for 2 days trying not to lose my baby. I was praying, and I watched the movie City of Angels like on repeat, just over and over. And so then after the miscarriage happened, I had to go to the hospital to have the D&C done. And what let me know, and now I understand right now, this is the beginning of the 3-day process of the releasing, right? And so I didn't know how to process the traumatic emotions. I'm sorry, Maya. Connected to it, because it was super traumatic for me. And so after the DNC, I came home, and the only way I knew how to process was to watch porn and masturbate. That was the only thing I could register in my mind because of the sexual trauma that I had experienced over my life. That's what I went back to, the place of the abuse that I made okay in order for me to be okay. And I just really felt like no one gave a fuck, you know? And so, like, you don't talk about it because who cares, you know? You push forward. Uh, you matter to you, but in those moments, you don't matter to you. And it was when I was working at Waffle House. My heart's beating so fucking fast. I worked at Waffle House um, when I was in my 30s. I'm 42. When I was in my 30s, I worked at Waffle House, and I was reading then. It just was like people knew me, you know what I'm saying, but I still was just working, you know. And I was already at STNA, and my sister's baby came to me, but she came in holding the hand of a little boy. And for me, I always thought it was a girl, you know. So when she came in, she let me know that she was my sister's baby that she lost, because my sister had had a miscarriage. And maybe that was her brokenness, you know, that nobody was there to support her, you know, or she terminated. And, and she didn't want to, but she had to for whatever reason. And so, you know, when she kept saying, he's for you. And he was the cutest he wanted to be, little thing he had on a suit, you know. And I called my sister, and I'm like, so I asked her, like, did my niece have them? She's like, no. She said, the little girl's probably mine, yeah, but I don't know who the other baby is. I don't know who they belong to, because she had on a little dress, he had on a little suit, they was holding hands. And I'm like, I don't know who this baby is. So then I hung up with her, and I'm asking the little souls, like, who are you? Like, who are you here for? And she keeps saying, he's here for you. And in that moment, Spirit brought it all the way back and says, this is the baby you lost. And I lost it at Waffle House while I was working. I just like cried. I cried hard as fuck, like, what the fuck? Because I never knew. And then to see him. So then when I was with, damn, I was being so fast, Katina. Yeah. When I was with Bethy, we were on shrooms one time. And, his name is Israel Emmanuel. And so I named him. And so he had come to me several times. Like right now, he'll be turning 24. He will be 24 in October. And so when, Tati will be 26 in April. Yeah, so he might be 24 already. But so I would do readings, and sometimes he would come to me for Toddy, and I can see, but it's only like in an imaginative way of how they project themselves to me. But when I was on the shrooms, I heard him, and he kept saying, "Mama, look at me," and I just could not. I could not. And he kept saying, "Look at me. Open your eyes and look at me," because I had my eyes closed. And he kept saying, "Look at me." So when I opened my eyes and I looked at it, I just wailed. I mean, I did. I wailed like a fucking banshee because he was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. He looked just like me and Toddy, and he looked nothing like I expected. I was expecting him to be like pale skinned because he was biracial, but he wasn't. He was like a little lighter tone than myself, and it looked more like a reddish tone. He had hazel eyes, and his hair was very curly, um, handsome. And I just wailed. And, I was telling Maya, like, I feel very detached from myself inside of my trauma, because I help everybody. And so I don't really necessarily deal with my own trauma. I don't look at it. I always tell people, don't look backwards. I know it's there. And if you've already did the work, that's fine. You don't have to look at it because you know it's there. But in my case, I move on. I move forward. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that this is now ground zero, and I must face what I don't want to face in order for me to get to the next place inside of my elevation. I'm angry, and I'm really, maybe I need to just go ahead and just, release that shit and talk about it. And I've done it before, when I was a little fatty, I did a video where I had my lock still, and I was like, I really got to get this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like I was keeping myself in a cage, but like I only broke like the surface. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't really go into the trauma and why I cannot remember half my fucking life. But I do understand the sexual abuse and how I made certain things okay inside of my life, like I was saying earlier, so other people will be comfortable with my fucking abuse. Why do people gotta be okay with your abuse? Because your abuse is your fucking abuse. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. People don't have to be okay with your abuse. You just gotta process the fucking abuse. When I lost my baby, man, it was motherfucking traumatic for me because I wanted that baby. I feel like I didn't even have to know about it because it was like 3 days later after I found out I was pregnant. Like in those 3 days, my mind was like everywhere. I was over the moon. I was excited, and then for it to be immediately snatched from me, I felt like I was being punished for being with a Chino. And that's something that I carry too, you know. I need to just breathe through that. How you, Maya? How are you? You okay? We're at ground zero. For Maya to get to her higher self, she has to go through the 3-day process as well, which is why she's allowed to be with me.
Mine started on the road earlier, y'all. Just in there screaming and hollering to you and anybody who was listening. Screaming, hollering, and crying. And now I realize that's why I really haven't had an appetite today.
That's what I thought about too. Like, that's why she's not hungry.
I just been drinking water.
It's almost disgusting. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to get the gas? Okay.
They were in here the whole time.
These glasses? Yeah, they was in here. I just pulled them out.
No,
Yeah, I just
they're
pulled
looking
them
for
out.
them everywhere.
Really? Yeah, I just pulled them out of there. As we're driving, because we're still driving, we're gonna talk and we're gonna talk. I hope y'all got your some tissue, because we about to process. We need to get some gas real quick. I'm gonna just pop my card in and just let it fill up and process. God, my hands is just. I feel like I'm ready to process. I feel like I'm ready to release. I feel very like I'm tired, and I know that right now I have to. Like, my body feel weak because it's fucking raising emotions that I try to outrun. Like, I don't understand why I just won't, like, what is it that's still keeping me attached to it, to the different traumas? And why can't I unlock the other ones? Because I've locked a lot of shit away where I can't even remember. I feel like I hated my life so much that I loved it. And I say that because I loved my mom so much, but I feel like she was fucking weak. I hated it. hated her so much I loved it. I just wanted her to stop being fucking weak. And maybe that's why I have a problem with weak people or feeling like I'm weak. Maybe that's why I haven't processed. Like I keep, I just want to scream. Gratitude, gratitude. You know, I didn't even realize I was bullied until the other day. I was bullied. I was made fun of. I was told that I was ugly and weird. Yeah, damn. I can't. I can't even hardly look at myself sometimes. And in order for me to watch my videos back, I have to detach. Like, that's not me. Yo. Mm. Mm. Mm.
It's gotta hurt so we can.
Mm. I was not ready. I ain't lying, I wasn't ready. These fucking lashes fuck around, come on. Because I was not ready. I really, I really just didn't want to be ugly. And I just wanted people to like me. You know, I just, I just wanted people to not touch me in the private places. Oh, I was so detached from myself. I'm still detached from myself. I just felt, let me put this card in. I just felt so fucking just. Hold on, let me put my card in. Let's start my gas. I just thought that we was gonna sit in this room for 3 days and breathe a little bit. No, that's not what's about to happen. It is not, and I can tell, and I can feel it. And maybe my throat has been hurting. Gratitude. My throat has been hurting all goddamn day. I didn't went about halls, but I feel like now it's because my fucking chakra is opening up. Moderators, check the chat. Get what needs to be taken care of, taken care of. If you see weird things being said, just feel free to exit them out. Gratitude. Huh? Oh, you need to use the restroom? Oh, you want to use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to process some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow, don't, don't allow anyone, because see, what's happening is you're about to heal and have a breakthrough like me. And they don't want the black woman to heal, because do you know what happens when a black woman heals? Her mind comes back together. She thinks differently. She's clearing out what she needs to clear out. And then she's ready for war. We're going to be ready for war. Nobody can ever make me feel bad about being me. Not now. I've gone through everything. I've been through everything, you know? So no one can make me feel bad about my own truth and my story. I just got to get it out. I need to release it. I need to let it go. I want everybody to refocus. Take a few deep breaths. Disregard whatever loser or pathetic bitches in there. We don't even address pathetic bitches. We are becoming stronger. We're preparing for our army. And we're going to release all of the ways they try to keep us broken, to make us be broken. We will rise up out of the ashes like a phoenix. Can't make me feel bad about mine. I'm still about to tell mine and cry about it. And I want you to do the same. Because whoever thought they was getting ready to do anything, say anything, please understand the spirit has already taken care of it. I can give it to you. I was always feeling like I was out of place. I had a biological sister who was the oldest, and then I had two stepsisters. And it was all four of us. We grew up in the same house. I didn't meet my father, my biological father, until I was 13. And that became a different kind of trauma. But this trauma, you know, sometimes trauma can be anger, because I was so angry with my mom for so long because she used to always wish to die. Always wish to die. I'll be glad when I die. I'll be glad when I die. And I used to couldn't understand why she would say that. So then when she got sick and passed, it made me angry because I felt like she got her wish. And no matter how much I prayed against it, Maya, I got gas on my hands. Can I have one of your things? No matter how much I prayed against it, I just felt like Juicy wasn't listening to me. And I promised I would be good. Gratitude. Ugh, I keep smelling it because it dripped on my hands.
I'm so pathetic.
Ugh, hate that. That's the damn worst. I always thought I had did something or we had did something, you know?
I feel like you need a company or something.
Gratitude. Um, so I always felt like I had did something. I love to smell like acid. Because I'm like, why don't she want to be here? You know? And then it was the whole, because she was in an abusive situation, you know? Um, and her abusive situation made me angry. For those who don't know, that my mom passed when I was 10. My mom was in a super abusive relationship with my stepfather, whom, after 2 months of marriage, she passed away, and I understood that he had done things to my mom to cause her passing. And it was super traumatic because he was a molester. He was an abuser. He was a halfway decent provider when he felt like it. And he was dumb as a box of rocks because he couldn't fucking read. In every way that he felt incompetent, and he thought my mother was competent in those areas, he tried his best to make her feel like shit so she didn't feel like she was worth more than him. I hated and loved this motherfucker. I hated him from the time I was little, but I was forced to love him, and I was forced to call him dad. Because for me, He was Charles. But my mom and he had went round and round that I take care of them. They should have to call me daddy because they daddy ain't there. So my mom forced us to call him daddy. I didn't want to, you know. I didn't. I did not want to. I wanted my mama to be strong and to be brave. And let me tell you something, man. You got to remember where you were at certain ages when you got kids, because kids are not dumb. I can remember thinking the shit that I thought. And my mom passed when I was 10. My stepfather, and I'm driving, so at any point that you can't hear me, let me know. After my mom passed, first of all, I got a warning from the spirit. The spirit told me your time with her is coming to an end, which is why I started praying. Because I was like, no, I'm going to be good. You know, I need her. I need her to stay. It was not happening. Like my mom got sick, quote unquote sick. But later, you know, like I said, I believe that he killed her because he started um, telling us, me and my siblings, that she died because of us, that we killed her. If it wasn't for y'all, she would still be here. Y'all killed her. Mm, mm. Like, why would you tell kids that? Why would you tell children that? And then, you know, to hear him say that and remembering how she used to wish for death and wish she would die. You know, you as a kid, you begin to internalize that. You know, so I don't know why you would even be flying like that. Stupid ass. So you internalize that kind of shit. And I know I didn't kill my mom. I know we didn't kill my mom. But like I said, you internalize it because I started to remember how she wanted to die and that, you know, she tried to leave us at one point, but she loved us so much she came back. You know what I'm saying? But she just wanted to be free. Oh, God damn it. You know, she just wanted to be free of that pain, of the mental torture. She was with somebody that she loved. You have to understand. My mom and my stepfather grew up across the street from each other from the time they was little. The man that she ended up being with was not the man, the little boy that she knew. He had got married to Elaine. My mother is marrying Elaine, but he had married this other lady named Elaine, and that's where my two stepsisters came in at. And he used to beat her to the point where she had a mental break, which is why because she started seeing bugs on herself, and you know, she started seeing things, and she started trying to make the children drink bleach because she felt like she needed to clean them because of the damage that he had fucking done to her from the abuse, the mental abuse. And when he was abusive, he was fucking abusive, like abusive, bro. To the point where I was little and I would try to help my mom, you know, only to be like pushed away and pushed down and knocked down, you know. Sometimes I feel like I'm screaming on the inside, you know that? So I have no patience with a lot of shit. I don't have no patience with a lot of dumb shit because of all the shit that I've been through. I just feel like my side of my temple gonna fucking explode. Hold me yourself. Hold me yourself. Never mind the sexual fuckery that was going on with us being molested. And then, because I don't remember much of my young life, I blocked out a lot. I become angry because then I want to know, did my mom know? Did you suspect that we was being abused or molested? Like, how long was it going on? You know, like, did it just start when, you know, when my mom died? Or was it already going on? Like, you know, had to have been going on. Why? Because me and my stepsister were sexual together. Why was we doing that? Kids don't do that. Like, we would play sexual games. My sister got caught. My stepsister, his daughter, we were the same age, but she was like older than me, but the same age. Like, her birthday's July 27th, my birthday's October 24th. And she had got caught. I caught her first, and I went and told. She was making our baby cousin eat her pussy. She's like 7. We're 7 and 8 or 8 years old. Like, why would she be doing that? And she got her ass whooped. She had been caught. We had been caught like making dolls do it to each other. Like, why were we doing that? My first lesbian relationship favored, and it wasn't until, you know, later that I realized she favored her. You know, you fucking made me like, I feel like I was made. And then, you know, then I become very triggered. And I become very angry with my mom. Like, you fucking weak, bro. You were weak. You were too weak to remove us from a fucked up situation, bro. Ooh. Oh man, I just be screaming on the inside. Like, why would you not remove us from this situation? How fucking selfish were you? That you needed this man in your fucking life, bro. Never mind the damage. But then I get mad at myself because I know her. I knew her. That was my mama. She was sweet as fuck. Her birthday was December 8th. She's a Sagittarius. All she wanted was a good life and to be okay. Her mom was a voodoo priestess. My grandmother was a voodoo priestess. And she would wreak havoc in your fucking life if you fuck with her. She had a voodoo doll that hung on her wall as soon as you walked through her bedroom door. You were never supposed to touch it. I would sit and stare at it because in her living room was a picture of Jesus that I would sit and stare at. I didn't understand it. I didn't have no connection to it. But the voodoo doll, I was definitely interested in it. I wanted to know more about it. And then I wonder, like, what kind of pain and trauma was my mother going through? Because my grandma killed the only person that I feel like my mom, like the only man that loved my mom, which was her father. My grandmother found out that my grandfather was having an affair that was cheating on her. And she did voodoo and made him run into a house and kill himself. She never married again. I don't even remember my grandmother ever having another man in her life. If she did, he never fucking came around. My mom was just so fucking loyal. She was loyal to a fucking fault. So then when I later hear my cousin say, and maybe that's why, I didn't recognize some stuff when my daughter was being bullied because of all the shit. Like, we used to get a whooping, and my cousin would laugh and make fun of us, and that was shit, like, oh, that's just cousin shit. But I was so traumatized from being touched all the time by different people. It ain't even the same motherfuckers. You waking up with cousins all on top of you and touching you. And, your uncle, he's mentally off. So is he really meaning to touch you? Oh, but you're always so fucking made to love those people who abuse you. Nobody has the right to abuse you. I do not give a fuck. Nobody has the right to abuse you, man. Nobody. Nobody. Mm, I really fucking hate that man. Really. And I had told myself, you know, that if I had ever seen him at an adult age, I would really just give this motherfucker a piece of my mind. Because as kids, shit that is traumatic, it can be exciting for a kid. You don't even realize how fucking damaging it is. Because my mom would chase down the very motherfucker that's beating her head in, catching them at bitches' houses, breaking car windows and shit. Waking us up at 2, 3 in the morning because he ain't came home. Now we got to pile up in the car to go find him. But it was exciting because, he probably going to be at Sherry or Barbara's house. I will never forget these two fucking women, Sherry and Barbara. It became very traumatic because Sherry stepped in fully after my mama died. Like what? Oh my God. Oh my God. I was just like, I feel like I never had a break mentally as a kid. I was already being traumatized because of the spiritual shit that I was experiencing, and I could not tell nobody. I would tell them, that my friends were my imaginary friends, but like the other shit you can't even talk about. So you don't talk about it. You talk about nothing. Talk about nothing. Because whatever goes on in this house, you stay in this house. You didn't want to get beat for saying it, for telling. Because after my mom died and we did tell, I wasn't going to tell. But when the principal called me in the office and said, your sister said that these things are happening, is that true? First thing they fucking did was call them and told them what we said. Bro, my stepfather, open palm, slapped my sister so hard when he came in from work. We're in the hotel room with Sherry because she's now stepped in trying to play mom. But, when we met her, she was just so fucking nice. The shit felt like a fucking betrayal to my mom. I didn't want her to be, oh my God. Ooh, girl. You understand what I'm saying? Like this nigga made us now, like we was already, like we not kin to none of these motherfuckers. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't none of these motherfuckers our family for real. So then when we have to go to my grandmother, you still have to understand. My mom's mom still stayed across the street from my stepdad's mom. So we would be over there and couldn't go over my grandma's house. We could see my grandma's house from across the street. It's not a big wide street. So then after that, after he came in and he slapped my sister, bro. He slapped her so, and this is his daughter. This is his daughter. The one that's the same age as me, the one we was doing the sexual shit. My sister, my mom's daughter, the oldest, she was 14 at the time. She had already left. And I had never, you have to understand the trauma, how instant the trauma was. I had never, ever been anywhere without my mother or my sister. Like, I was so traumatized from, like, the spiritual shit. I had to sleep with all the lights on. Somebody had to be in the room with me at all fucking times. It was traumatic. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? They were everywhere. I heard them all the time. I grew up terrified. I was terrified all the time. I was scared of him. I was scared of my mom dying because I felt it before she even got sick. And I knew, like, I only had the imaginary friends that kept me feeling safe. Because my sisters, they used to talk about me. They were my first fucking bullies. It was my oldest sister who used to tell me I had an ugly smile. You got white people lips. Why you look like that? I was a little girl with moles. Can you imagine that? I was fucking bullied, bro. But the spiritual shit had always been in my life. Because my grandmother was a voodoo priestess. Then you had my grandfather, whom she killed, but his sisters, they were my great aunts. They were my mom's backbone. I've never seen my grandma, my mom's mom, and my aunties, which is my grandpa's sisters, or my mama Dina's mama. I never seen them interact with each other. Nobody ever went over each other's house. I never even heard them speak of each other. They didn't like each other. They knew, but they was into that shit too. I believe my grandmother was killing off my grandfather's people and doing things. Because they were, listen, it was, you don't understand spiritual shit. Motherfuckers be thinking they getting ready to do something to me. Bro, I swear to God, I come from voodoo, bro. I come from voodoo. And this nigga keeps signing contracts on my head. You don't understand what you doing, sir. I come from voodoo. Oh my God. Oh, I grew up in the house that was built on an Indian burial ground. It's not a fucking game. It's not a lie. Our dog Chuck used to dig up human bones in the backyard. It was shows everywhere. I was terrified. Oh my God. Not to mention everything was always taken from us. Always taken from us. We moved so much when I was little. Now speaking to Princess Diana, I understand the shit. But we moved, seemed like every year we were moving. It was like we could never be stable. Do you know? Like I contribute that shit to me never really being stable as an adult. It wasn't until I had moved to Nashville that I had stability in my life. The year and a half, 2 years that I was in a little house on Coleraine in Cincinnati before I moved to Nashville. So totally 6 years of my adult life, I was stable. And in those 6 years, my spiritual gift shot up through the fucking roof. I never knew who I was because who the fuck could I possibly be? I'm a little black girl full of abuse from a country ass city where nothing ever came out of except for the fucking Gap Band. My cousin Odell was in the Gap Band before they ever took off. It's like it just felt like we was cursed constantly. I just felt cursed constantly. Now saying the shit, I'm wondering was my grandma and my aunties battling spiritually? Because it's my aunties, my great aunties that I said used to talk to the spirits through the mirrors. They had souls in their house too. Not only was the house, see, we inherited that house. My mom inherited two houses and never got one. And even when she passed, we never got them either. It was just like everybody dropped the ball. Everybody became different when my mama died. My aunties and uncles became super abusive, beating on us and shit, hitting my sister, like fighting my sister. Like it was terrifying. Cause who the fuck are these people? These are not the same people. My mom used to keep us from them. We just thought they were not, like, because they would argue all the time, like sisters and brothers. So we just, mom, we had my mama. So it was like my mom tried to shield us from all of the abuse, but she couldn't. Because we still was seeing it. We still was living through it and experiencing it. And for me, I'm watching her love the fucking abuse. But she would cut my auntie off quick. Like if my auntie and her got into it, my auntie Curly, like her sister, like it would be cut off. But it was my aunt's kids that used to like, they was our first bullies. Like they would talk about us, make fun of us, laugh at us. It was like crazy shit, bro. So after my mom died, like they would fist fight my sister, bro. My sister was like 13, 14. I mean, she would push me behind her and take the abuse, like take the blows, and she be trying to defend herself, like fighting, like no questions asked. They come over swinging, like pop, 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 like grown women fighting my fucking sister. Like who the fuck are these people? They was never like that when my mom was living. Like what the fuck? So she went from she went from being one of my biggest protectors to being someone who couldn't stand me like almost overnight and didn't want to be around me. And so at that point, I had had enough of people acting like they did not like me, they couldn't stand me. Like, well, well, fuck it. Because that's the whole sexual abuse kind of thing was like, well, you know, men began to give me attention at like 10 and 11 years old. I was well developed. I was getting in bars at 11 years old. I was going to the motherfucking Dragon Lady with a 21-year-old chick named Mona. We would walk around and drink. I'm 11, looking like I was 16, 17 years old. Only getting put out the bar because they thought I was 16 years old. I was fucking 11, bro. What? Oh my God. Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody gave a fuck. I just wanted somebody to give a fuck. But at that point, if it wasn't my mom, which it wasn't gonna be because she was already passed on, couldn't tell me nothing. Then I became super violent. Like, what? Bitch, I beat your ass. Say what? What? Oh my God. Knuckle up, bitch, because we about to go. Who said what? And you about to do what? Like, bitch, what? Knock it the fuck off. I didn't give a fuck. Like, it was men that was giving me the attention. I'm not talking about boys my age. I mean 20 something, 30 something year old men giving me attention at 11, 12, 13 years old. All my life, I was like 10, 11, and I thought this guy named Aaron was my boyfriend. Aaron was grown as fuck in his 20s. Why did I think he was my boy? Because of the shit, like how he acted towards what the things he would say. Like my crush went from he's a cute man to very inappropriate, the things that he would say. Like I took him serious when he said, "You my little girlfriend." I took it seriously. I was damaged. I was damaged. And it just was a progression. It was a progression. Like I started fucking at 12. I started fucking at 12 and was still scared to sleep by myself. I was still sleeping with my big sister. So it was after that that she, because at that time she had her own friends, and she was really kind of acting like she didn't like me anymore, like I was a nuisance. So I started finding my own friends. Like, that's when I realized, oh, niggas is into me. Like, I'm 11, 12 years old. Like, okay, well, shit. I'm grown now. That was my mentality. I'm grown now. Fuck y'all. Y'all don't like me. These niggas like me. Nobody asked why I was talking to these men. Nobody faulted the men. Nobody came to my rescue. Nobody helped me. So I adopted the nigga mentality. I never let no nigga buy nothing from me, pay nothing from me. I don't need nothing from you. Instead of me allowing them to hurt me and fuck me and leave me, I didn't give a fuck about them. Because of how I was treated by them. Before I was even able to understand myself, before I was able to understand my own hygiene, before I was able to understand and process my mom's passing, like, one of my mom, he used to stay in my grandma's house with my grandma. He was schizophrenic, and he would walk around with a robe on that was real short, and his dick just hung out from up under it. He smoked cigarettes all day. He was just weird to me. But my mom loved him because that was her brother. My grandma loved him because that was her son. I didn't know how the fuck to feel about him because he was scary, and he raised my shirt up one time, and it was so uncomfortable. It was and like, I just didn't tell nobody because he was already off, and I always carried a love for him. So when I became of age, I had, of course, left Oklahoma, and I moved to Ohio with my father's side of the family, which that was traumatic as fuck too, but that's a whole nother realm of abuse. Um, so then I went back to Oklahoma to visit when I was, older of age. And I went to go see my uncle. He was now staying in his own place. So I was hoping he was doing well. But I realized he was still the same person, just in his own space, you know? And I felt bad because there was nobody there for him. He was all alone by himself. And when I left out of his house, I cried like a baby. I cried so fucking hard because he was alone. And he was alone inside of whatever trauma he had experienced that caused his schizophrenia to come out and took him to that place. Some things are worse than death. Some things are worse than death. And I believe because my grandmother used the voodoo to constantly harm people, I my cousins believe that she used the voodoo against all of us. I don't know. But there's been some sort of like, let me just explain. Okay, there was my Uncle Buster, my Uncle Atha. My Uncle Atha's who I'm talking about, the schizophrenia one. There was my Uncle Buster, my Uncle Atha, my Aunt Glodine, my Auntie Curlin, and my mom. My Uncle Buster had two, he had other children, but the two daughters that came around was Brenda and Felicia growing up. And they were young girls, but they were much older than myself. Like, and they both died young. I can remember Brenda coming over to my grandma's house, and my grandma didn't want her to sit on the furniture. Brenda was like 18 or 19. She was a heavy set, light skin, real pretty. And my grandma didn't want her to sit on the furniture because she said Brenda had like some sort of venereal disease or she had herpes or something, and she didn't want her to sit on the furniture. And I remember how wrong that felt in my heart that she would make her sit on one chair on a towel. She couldn't sit on anything else. And it made me just feel so bad for her because my grandma made them feel unwanted. And I just don't like that. Next thing I know, Brenda had died. And then Felicia was like out in the streets too. I think Felicia died when she was like 24 or 25. Okay, right? So then my Uncle Buster died. No. My mom was the first one to die. My Uncle Atha went crazy, schizophrenia, right? He had one son that I knew of, that as of like maybe 3 or 4 years ago came back in contact with. Um, but that happened to him, right? My Auntie Curlin always seemed like she may have been off a little bit. I'll explain more about her. So my mom was the first to die. Then after that, that's when I said my uncle and my aunts would come over and beat up my sister and shit. So then my Uncle Buster died. And then my Aunt Glodine, she had a daughter named Pat. Pat had a son named Joseph, and she had a baby named Toya that my mom used to help take care of. Joseph had sickle cell. He died. Then all the traumatic shit happened with us, of course. So that separated me from that side of the family for real. Then my grandma died. Then my Aunt Glodine died. Then her daughter Pat died. My Auntie Curlin is still the only one living. However, about 5, 6 years ago, maybe, out the blue, my aunt got married and shot and killed her husband and has been serving time ever since then. My aunt was in her 60s when she did it. Somebody has been running through my fucking family. Both sides of my family, my grandfather and my grandmother's side, was into work and voodoo. And I believe that they had been battling spiritually because my mom she favored my mama Dean. Because my mama Dean died, my Aunt Jean died, my Aunt Eileen died, my Aunt Mary died. Then they left my mom all by herself because they were her backbone. So then we moved into the house. That's the house that was built on an Indian burial ground. So we had to move into that house. And that's the house that my mom died in, just like several of the other ones. My stepfather was traumatized. We moved out immediately. We left everything in the fucking house. We was trying to move shit out, but we didn't get everything. My mom got sick and was dead within 2 months. She had been going back and forth to the doctor trying to figure out why she had a green ring around her eye. It wasn't until like 10 years ago, my cousin, which is my aunt who's in jail, her son, told me that his sister, and these are the two that used to bully us and laugh at us, his sister saw my stepfather putting antifreeze in my mom's coffee. I need to sit with that for just a second, please. That's where I would be so scared I would not get out of the bed in the middle of the night. I would just pee because I could hear them. I was traumatized. I was terrified. I did not want to get out the bed. I could feel them. I could hear them. I could hear them with my ears. It sounded like, you know how fucking traumatic that shit is? Oh my God. On top of that, my sister's name used to make fun of me and bully me too and say how weird I was. Then we never really had money, so we never really had clothes. And at some point, I became depressed and I didn't want nobody to comb my hair and I wouldn't comb my hair. So then my mom had made us all get these curls that were so fucking dry. We never had activator. It seemed like we never had grease. And on top of that, we was getting our asses beat. I don't mean like we got whippings, no, we got our ass fucking beat, bro. She got her ass beat, we got our ass beat. It wasn't continuous, but we got our ass fucking beat. We had to get in the tub, take a bath, you wash up, and you don't dry off. That's traumatic as fuck. And she would whoop your ass with a belt or with a switch. I done been whooped with an extension cord, but it was very rare. It just felt like everything was a slap in your head, or, you know, everything was very violent. I grew up with nothing but violence and trauma. But I loved her because I felt like she didn't mean it. I gave her that excuse, she don't mean that. I forgive her because she was the one person that never made me feel weird about the shit that I didn't understand. But I feel like everybody else understood it. Everybody else knew what I was or what I possessed, or because they already was in it. I seemed like I was always in trouble, even though I didn't do nothing. You know, I feel like I was always in trouble because of my siblings. And I never got in trouble for, it was very rare I could get in trouble for what I did. I was always in trouble for what everyone did. And so I feel like the small shit that I did, you know, I was always fucking in trouble for, you know? So I feel like I tried very hard to be liked or to be cool or to be nice because I understood what it felt to feel like people don't like you or to feel alone. But I was okay with playing by myself. I had sisters, but I would play by myself with the spirits, the souls. I called them, my friends, but my sister and them couldn't see them. And they would say they were my imaginary friends. For me, they were very real. And I feel like it was the souls of the children that were abused that found me because I was in a house full of abuse. And there were several people in my family that died in that same house. And before that, like we was always moving around, you know. He would do shit like he would go and beat somebody up at work and lose his job. My mom worked two jobs. She was a CNA. She would go to work with black eyes, busted lips, and she was kind as fuck. I can't remember my mom ever mistreating anyone. I remember my mom jumped out on a Gina one time with a nigga beater. My mom carried a nigga beater, quote unquote, a nigga beater. It was the wooden leg to a table she kept under her driver's seat. I've only seen her go off on somebody twice, besides the arguments that she would have with my aunt. Like, I've never seen my mom, like, mistreat nobody. Never. Never. I just felt like, she didn't deserve the abuse that she was getting. She took care of his other children. She took care of my two stepsisters like they were hers. Like there was no step. Like she took care of them like they were her children. And she made sure that we would all drive the 2 hours to Veneta, the mental institution, so they could go see their mom. She would make sure that they had a relationship with their mom. So I hated this nigga, man. I hated him. I mean, I can't even explain how I hated and loved him at the same time. Like, we kept the shotgun. My stepfather kept guns. So when the motherfucker in Houston said to me, we play with guns down here, Miss Dean, bitch, I grew up with guns. I don't understand what people think about me. Oh, I'm from New Orleans, so I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I come from Voodoo. Like, I'm confused. Why people think they understand who I am, you have no idea. We kept the shotgun behind the door. We knew not to touch this shit. My stepfather, he kept guns. We shot him every year. I was like 6, 7, 8 years old shooting shotguns. I hate guns. To this day, I hate guns. They were very traumatic. The abuse that I watched was traumatic. Just the very things he used to do, you know? And it was like all she wanted him to do was love her. I'm like the fuck over it. Over it. It's just so much. Like, I probably need more than fucking 3 days. If this is what we about to do, I'm gonna need more than 3 days. Because to get it out, if that's what spirit want me to do is to get it out, oh my God. This is just, this is just, this is just up to 11 and 12 years old. And that ain't even everything. You know? I seen and I tried to help and I couldn't. This motherfucker was beating my mama ass like she was a nigga. He was hitting my mama with some fucking thunder. And I can almost hear my mother screaming, "Stop it, Charles. Stop, Charles." Because we didn't call him Charles, we called him Charles. And then she would still have to cook. And he would take his shower. It was a routine. It was a routine. I was the quiet child. I would just sit back and watch everything. My sister and them be talking and playing, but because I played by myself with the souls, I would be watching everything. I would watch everything. I would watch her because she was my favorite person in the world, and I would just watch her. I would watch her, and I would wonder about her, how she felt, why she cried so much, why she wouldn't leave. Like, she must like it. I was so confused. I told her one day, I did. I told her. Told her I don't like him. He hurts you all the time, you know? And at that time, I think I was like 7. Yeah, I had to be like 7, I think. And it was like, I don't know why my mom was that broken that she stayed in that shit. And maybe it was because she felt like her friends was his sisters. They all grew up together. Even though they went their separate ways, like my mom and Elaine used to be about to fight, you know? My mom had become like the side chick to him because she had already stopped dealing with my daddy and my sister's daddy, because my daddy was abusive to her too, to the point where my daddy's sisters had to help my mom escape him. She was in Cincinnati. They had to devise a plan because my daddy was on drugs, and when he would snort coke, he would get crazy as fuck. Like my daddy and my uncle Reggie were boxers. Their friend was Aaron Pryor. They all boxed together. And my daddy and my uncles, they were known through the city. You could probably ask a lot of people about Greg and Reggie Johnson. The city of Cincinnati, please. My daddy and my uncle were pimps, real pimps. These niggas be like, I'm on my pimp shit. No, they had hoes, and they were abusive as fuck. My uncle was so abusive. He was so abusive to his girlfriend that her and I became friends. When I became an adult, her and I became friends. That's how, oh God. That was one of my first understandings of my father being a pervert. I never knew, because I didn't know. I didn't know my daddy like that. When I met my daddy, I was 13. I remember my daddy from when I was like 2 and 3, but I hadn't seen my daddy. My stepfather kept me from him because he thought he was better for us than my daddy. He didn't want my mom to have no dealings with him. And that was abusive, but my uncle's girlfriend called this one particular time Valentine's Day Massacre. He had beat her to the point where he scalped her. My daddy and my uncle was crazy as fuck. I do mean crazy as fuck and abusive as fuck. Now I think about it, I loved and hated my daddy too. Truthfully, that's almost how I feel about society. I love and hate society. You know, the abuse was very traumatic, man. Like on both parts. My daddy, and that's another reason why I kind of started to dislike my dad when I met my daddy. For the first time when I got older, is because he kept saying my mom was a liar, like he didn't beat her up. Oh, she left me because I stayed out for 9 days at a time, because he was pimping then. And he would bring the money home and put it on the dresser, and he would be gone. But he didn't think that I remembered. I remember the day my mom put him out. It's because he had beat my mom up and flipped over all the furniture in the house. He had cut the pants off of my mom. I remember the shit like it was yesterday. He made her lay down. She was crying, and he cut the jeans off her and said they were too tight. He was super abusive. So when he left, my mom called and had the locks changed. We lived in Comanche projects in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My daddy's friend was Dinka. Dinka was super abusive to Carolyn, which was his woman. He was super abusive. He was an alcoholic. All my daddy's friends was like that. It was like that was the norm growing up. Everybody I knew that my mom knew was in abusive relationships. Everyone. Everyone. And I don't mean just like, I mean like getting beat damn near to death, bro. In the very projects, Comanche projects, it became, you know how when you little, you start to make like you walk past that apartment, it's a ghost in there, they gonna get you, because this man had beat his wife to death and set her on fire. So that apartment became one of those apartments, like we would run past it because we were scared that she would get us. But that was the norm. All my stepfather's sisters were getting beat. They were in abusive relationships. My mom was getting beat from him. Okay? Like, she didn't have no other friends because she wasn't allowed to have other friends. She had work friends, but she wasn't allowed to have other friends except for his sisters. And they were all being beat up. You know? And then his friends, my daddy friends, was abusers before she got with Charles fully. Like, and I believe I became detached from myself because we had lived next door to Genomes a lot, and they were our friends. And Maybe not a lot. We moved a lot. We lived next door to this one white family. Let me say it that way. But before then, I have to say that, yeah, we didn't have much interactions with white family except for what we saw on TV and the friends at school. So growing up in my mind, black people was the only families that were living like that. Because we never had water. Our water was always getting cut off. Why? Because he was always beating somebody up. He never went to jail. He was never arrested. My stepfather was breaking people. I'm not just saying he beating people up. Like, he almost broke this man's neck. He broke somebody's arm. Like, he was being fired. He could not hold a job because he was beating people up. He could not read. My mom had to read all of his mail, write everything for him. She got up at 5 in the morning, packed his lunch, had to go back to bed. And how did I know that? Because she would wake me or my sisters up. And normally it would be me. She would wake me up and have me come and lay with her. That's when the time when the spirit kept coming to me saying, your time is coming to an end with her. And I couldn't understand that. Because she didn't deserve that. And I felt like she was being punished because she wouldn't fucking leave. And that makes me angry with her. Like, why didn't you choose you? Why didn't you choose us? Oh man, I've been on here for a long time just talking. We couldn't tell anybody about the abuse. We couldn't tell anybody. So then, being over with my step family house across the street from my grandma, they had so many people in one house. The bathroom was disgusting. The floor was always wet because they had carpet in there and the toilet never worked. So you had to fill up the buckets and dump the motherfucking bucket in the toilet just for the toilet to flush. The back rooms were piled with clothes. Nobody lived in the back rooms because it was piled with junk and clothes. They were hoarders. There was piles of clothes in my step grandmother in their bedroom, and I only seen her bedroom maybe twice. It was her and her husband. I'm trying not to call their names, but they would be in the back room, like, and then they would come to the living room. The first time I saw porn was because my step grandfather was watching it on TV. I was like, I seen it. Like, that's when I began to, like, I would wake up and it'd be like my older cousin boys like on top of me hunching and shit. Like, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. But nobody likes you. So it feels like somebody finally likes you. Mm. Like, when we washed clothes over there, the washing machine was in the backyard with all the other shit and with the scraps from the food, with the dog tied up to the tree, like all of the junk in the backyard. And it was one of those washers that didn't have a lid. It was a circle kind. And it washed, it didn't have a lid. You can watch it wash, and you would have to help it sometimes. And then the clothes, you would take it out, and you would have to run it through this thing, and it would like press it like down to wring the water out of it. And then you had to hang the clothes up. I grew up hanging clothes up. Like, when my mom was living, we would go to the laundromat. But that was traumatic because we got screamed and yelled at all day. And I would just sit and I would dream of fucking white men. God, why I was so fucking broken. I was a little girl dreaming of fucking white men. I don't know. I do not know why. I felt like white people did not go through the shit we did. I didn't know they went through the shit we went through until we moved next door to Stephanie and Wayne. The white people. That's when I realized white people stink. They house stink. To me, they smell like spoiled spaghetti sauce and bologna. That's how they smell to me. But she was cool. They were cool. And I realized that they went through the same shit. When I watched Wayne, Wayne was a redhead. He was like 15 or something. Stephanie was my age. She was a little blonde with dimples, and she had the little like mushroom haircut and shit. She was spoiled as fuck. Her whole room was pink with baby dolls, and they house stink to me. It just did. I didn't know why it smelled that way. And at that time, I was still believing that white people shitted yellow instead of brown like regular. I thought they shitted yellow. Why? Because I was at a shoe store with my mom one time, and a little white boy shit on the floor was yellow. So I assumed it's all people, white people shit was yellow. I understood that they was different, but I didn't think they went through abuse until I seen Wayne's daddy. Wayne took karate. He was a chubby motherfucker. He was mad at Wayne when he was on a bike. This man came up off the ground, roundhouse, kicked this little boy off the bike, went out of it. The mother was standing on the porch like, you didn't have to knock the wind out of him. And I realized, oh, they daddy abusive too. Oh, okay, so everybody get abused. Okay, so it's normal. Oh, okay. So then one day Stephanie was crying in the backyard. We would play at the gate. She'd be on her side, I'd be on my side. And she was crying, and I was like, what's wrong? And she was like crying because her dad lost his job. And she didn't know what the family was going to do. Like, why the fuck was she that traumatized? Because I'm like, shit, my daddy lose his job all the time. We ain't never got electric or water. Like, what you crying for? That's what how it go. Like, oh, white people go through that too? Oh. So the brokenness is just normal. Everybody go, oh, I didn't know that. Dang, okay, I feel better about myself now. You supposed to go through abuse. Oh, okay. Well, stop crying. Let's go play. I hated my life. I hated my life. I wanted to be white the whole time I was little, from 6, 7, 8 years old. After my mama Dean and my Aunt Jean and my Aunt Mary and them died, I wanted to be white because I had convinced myself, this was before we had moved next to Wayne and Stephanie. I had convinced myself that white people didn't go through that shit. So I wanted to be white. I was like, I am not like these people. Why do I feel like it's wrong? But it's supposed to be normal. Why don't I feel like I don't know why. I must be evil because I hate this Jesus person. Where is he? I hate him. I never connected with it. So I felt like I was wrong. Because why am I not connecting with this shit? I'm in the wrong family. So then I began to put shirts and sweaters on my hair because then I hated my hair. I hated my hair. I hated my face. I hated my hair. And I hated myself. I hated everything. Because nothing felt right. Nothing. Nothing ever felt right. Nothing ever felt good. I didn't know why I was never felt like I was happy. Like I just felt like if I was happy, I couldn't be happy because something might happen if I was too happy. Like it would be like too much like right to just have a fucking normal day without her getting beat up or us getting beat up. I feel like it was just there was no praise, really it was all abuse or punishments. The one it's several things. It's several things. This one story I talk about a lot because I feel like it traumatized me because I made me feel like shit. I felt so low and I couldn't understand why I was doing it. I'll never forget it. I had on a white oversized crocheted sweater. It was my sister's sweater. I felt like I never had my own clothes. I had to always wear somebody else's clothes because I was the baby. I had on a blue jean skirt. I was like 11 because my mom had just passed. I was 11, and like I said, I was getting in. This is the same outfit I had on when I went to the Dragon Lady and I got put out. I had to say this might have been the same motherfucking day. Matter of fact, I think it was because after the yeah, bitch, it was. It definitely the fuck was because me and Mona had been walking around drinking. We was drinking Budweiser. Bitch, I was drinking Budweiser at 11, sitting on the corner like a fucking drunk with this bitch. She's taking me to the Dragon Lady, like we in there drinking. But before this happened, I had told all the boys to meet me behind Pissy Washington's house. It was a line of them too. And I was standing behind the house with my shirt up and my bra up. And they just walked past and squeezed my titties and walked out, walked away. It was like their moment. Why did I do that? I don't know, but it made me feel so bad about myself. I hated myself for doing that. I hated myself. It was just another trauma piled up on top of everything. And I hated myself because I was embarrassed because they told on me and my cousin who was fucking, I kept waking up with him on top of me. He went and told on me. Like, you didn't tell on you for what the fuck you did. It was shit like this. So, okay, let me finish that. So he told on me, my sister said, go get her. He came, he said, your sister said, come here, you in trouble. So now, oh my God, everybody knows. So now I'm embarrassed. And she cussed me out, and I'm like, fuck you. You not my mama. Do what I want to do. So then later on, me and Mona went walking. I walked with her to Circle K. It was nighttime, honey. And we went and got some beer. We sat on the corner for a minute and we drunk them. I know I drunk one. She was like, you want to go over here? So we went over to the Dragon Lady. We went in there. She asked me what I wanted. I said I wanted the same thing because I didn't know what the fuck to drink because I was 11. So she ordered me a Budweiser. I'm sitting at the bar. She over there talking to some nigga. I'm just sitting at the bar by myself drinking this beer. I'm 11 years old. The owner, the black man, came over to me. He said, I know you ain't old enough to be in here. How old are you? I said, 16. He said, I knew it. I thought so. He said, drink that shit here, but get the fuck out of here. He let me sit there and drink my fucking beer, bro. I was 11. So I told her I gotta go. He said I gotta leave. She was like, cool. Do you know I do not, on my right hand, I do not remember anything past leaving. Me telling her that we have to go, I can't remember what happened after. I do not know. I have blocks of my life that I cannot remember. I mean, blocks, blocks. It was like half the time I was not myself. Now I'm wondering, was my vessel always being used? Because I do not remember half of my life. I don't remember leaving the Dragon Lady. I don't. I've tried so many times, I can't remember. I remember walking over to her. She was talking to like the little dude that worked the door or whatever. And I remember telling her that the man said I gotta leave. And she was like, why? I said, because he asked me how old I was, and I told him I was 16. She knew I was 11. So she was like, oh, okay. That's all I remember. I do not remember what happened after that. I don't. But what I was going to say, like, is shit like this. Like, one of my step cousins, because again, we didn't go over too much to my grandma's house that lived across the street, my real grandma. We didn't really go over there. So we would be outside at times of the night that we should not be, because that's what was happening in this house over here, in my step family house. That's how they was living. That's how they was giving it up. Everybody was like being abused, molested. You know, it was just like the fucking norm, bro. It is me. It is my best friend, my two best friends. I believe, and somebody else was with us. And then my cousin, step cousin D'Angelo. As a little kid, I'm looking at him. I thought he was so cute. He was so handsome to me. He had took us all down the street. We was all sitting on, cause that's the house that Dink and them used to live in, or Terry and them or whatever. We used to play hide go get it in there. I suffered so much abuse, bro. Spirit brought some shit to my mind one day. Was like, do you remember this? Let me tell y'all something. Let me walk myself through this shit, bro. I've been abused so much. I've been abused so fucking much. Let me just. He had us all down the street. We all sitting on the porch. We are still young. I'm maybe 11. I'm 11. Because this is still after my mom died. Like, so much shit just went berserk after my mom died. My mom died when I was 10. By 11, my life was completely out of control. I went from being a good, innocent girl, getting ready to graduate the 5th grade, going to the 5th grade. I cried at my 5th grade graduation because my mama was dead, and I didn't care. I didn't want to be there. I had to wear the dress she bought me. Oh my God. Nobody saw it. Nobody even asked me if I was okay. Like, I can't even remember half of the shit. I can't even remember half of my days. I was traumatized by seeing my mom in a coma with all these tubes. Oh, I can scream. Oh my God. So we're all sitting down on this fucking porch, and D'Angelo pulls his dick out. And he said, let's play a game. And we had never seen no dick, so we laughing. We young. The oldest one might have been my friend Creisha. Because Creisha's like 2 years, I think, older than me. So if I'm 11, you know what I'm saying? We laughing, and he said, let's play a game. Let's see who can make it hard. Oh, I can't. Oh, just, you are not there no more, Matita. You okay? Mm. Ooh, it's hot. Let me turn this air down. Ooh. Mm. That's so embarrassing for me. It's so embarrassing. Like, cause I feel like, why was we that dumb and naive? I'm trying to remember, was I 11? I almost feel like I'm younger than that because I feel like my mom never had dropped us off over there. I can't remember. I can't remember. He said, let's play a game. Let's see which one of y'all can make it hard. And so we always laughing, touching it. He told us what to do to make it hard. We were young. I had to be younger than 11, man. I had to be. I can't remember though. I honestly can't remember after it got hard what happened. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I remember touching it. I don't know if we put our mouths on it. I can't remember. I blacked out. It's like something took over. I can't remember. I just remember he said, let's play the game. And we had to touch it to make it hard. And every time I try to remember, I feel like I'm about to put my mouth on it. And I can't remember. Man. Mm, mm, mm. That is so crazy. It's like everything around me was just abuse, whether it was mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally. I was seemingly the most unhappiest child. Mm, mm, mm. And I feel like I was just always so unprotected. Nobody ever protected me except for the spirit and the souls. They was my only outlet. They was my only friends. They was the only ones that, it was only the spirits, the souls. It was only them. I think that's it for me right now, bro. I think that's it for me right now. I just want to know nobody, why nobody asked? Why nobody, you know, why nobody helped? Mm. I think I don't know. Maybe I just need to stop it just because, ooh, child, that's it. So I just wanted to, like, I might as well, like, I just wanted to give my pussy to who I wanted to give it to. That became traumatic. It was just, yo. I was just, I was scared of myself. I was scared of my own body, you know. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, what it was supposed to do. All I know is everybody wanted it. Mm, 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 mm. But like I always try to process it, you know. I try to I work through my traumas, I try to. I'm not always I will bury it. I would just say, you're okay. You're all right, Quatita. You know what I'm saying? Because it just, and maybe that's why, I don't know. When I lost my baby and my sister said that to me, it was like very traumatic. Maybe that's why, because I was never able, like everything was just okay. Everything was all normal, and like I just kind of got tired of everything being normal. Like the shit can't be fucking normal. So then when I started like fighting, what you mean? What you mean? Oh, this ain't normal? It is. Yes, it is. Like I would beat your ass. Like the last time when I was younger, boy, the last time I had a fight, besides when I got older, I got to a fight in junior high, and I didn't want to fight nobody else after that because I had blacked out. I beat the brakes off of this little white boy. Like I had came completely outdone. I got a pee so bad. I became completely outside of myself. You know, my trauma is real, and so I love people through their trauma to help them. Cause I do for the spirit what the spirit tell me to do. When I tell you that's only a little bit, it's only a little bit. Like my mom was abusive. I can remember We had little Toya, my aunt's daughter's child that I said my mom used to help take care of. We had her, she was a baby. And my job, we was at the laundromat, was to just sit with her. And she had accidentally fell. And my mom was like, why you wasn't watching her? And I'm like, I was. My mom hit me so hard, bro. She hit me so hard. I felt like shit. Like I do better. You know? Like I do better. Like I never wanted her to hate me. You know? I never wanted to disappoint, but it seemed like that's all we did was disappoint her or make her angry. Damn. Oh, she could be so abusive. She could. I know she thought she was doing the right things, but it was traumatic. It's traumatic to constantly get hit in your fucking head. That's traumatic. To constantly be, you know, you feel like you can't do shit right. And I carried that into my mothering. And I feel like that's constantly what I've run into. It's people that want to abuse me and mistreat me and misuse me. You know what I'm saying? Even as an adult. Mhm. But I know I don't want to go too fast and pass up shit because there's a lot of abuse. There was a lot of mental abuse. Because my grandma would say shit too. You know, my mom's mom, she could be like, that's Josie. Josie made the one that said she was my representative. And Papa Candelo was like, what the fuck that means to me? Like, she's one of my main guardians. She's the grandmother that the bitch in Atlanta was like, you need to get the grandmother off of you. Like, that's her. She's the voodoo priestess. Anyway, I feel like I need to sit with some of this. I'll come back again. Uh, my grandma was mean as fuck. My grandma was mean as fuck. And she would do shit. Like, she's some of the reason that my sister was getting beat up. Like, she tried to beat my sister with a broom. Because my sister was on the phone with my cousin Monique. And she grabbed the broom and pushed my grandmother into the chair. So she was holding her, like trying to stop her from beating her with this broom out of nowhere. And my grandmother was very like out of breath, and she called my aunt and it's like, Trish then jumped on me. Like, that never fucking happened. My aunt flew over there without even asking. And the crazy part is, Monique came with my aunt. Monique was on the phone. She knew what happened. She never tried to save my sister. She never tried to save her. My aunt came through the door and beat my sister down like she was a grown ass woman, bro. My sister did nothing. My sister deals with a lot of trauma because we was never fucking protected. It was like the abuse is crazy. Absolutely bananas. That I made it, we made it, they made it. It was all made to be fucking okay. And we don't talk about that. What? Oh, I think one of the biggest parts that make me mad is that we were still forced to be around the people that was abusive us or abusive to us. And it was like our nature is so good and loving, that we thought we was doing something wrong or we did something to deserve it or I shouldn't have been this way. I shouldn't have looked that way. Like maybe maybe I don't know what I did, but I probably shouldn't have did it. And I don't want to make them feel bad, and I don't want to stop talking to them. Oh, girl, I got to go use the bathroom. I gotta stop here. I gotta stop there. I gotta stop right here, because I can't. It's why, it's why I can't stop smoking weed. I don't smoke now. This is why the fuck I can't. That's why when I smoke weed, I watch porn, because it's all together. It's coping for me. I knew nothing but drug use and like sexuality. Mm. You know, nobody, I can't remember. Oh my God, breathe, bitch. You know, I can't even remember nobody ever asking me if I needed help with my homework. I don't remember nobody ever helping me with homework. I remember people trying to fuck me though. That's deep. I never even thought about that. I cannot remember. Nobody ever really asking me how school was. And the things that you do because of sexual abuse, you don't forget the impression it leaves on you. You just become embarrassed and ashamed at the shit, how it affected you, because you start to like I would rub my vagina on the side of the chair because it felt good, because that's all I knew when I was little. Like, why would I be doing that? I started to want to wear tight jeans. I mean, we talking about fourth and fifth grade. I would sit with my legs open, in case somebody wanted to look at it. Oh my God. Girl, girl, let me just know. That's it. Yo, oh God. Oh, I could just scream. Oh, Yehuda. Mm, mm, mm. But I can't remember. I honestly can't. I'm trying to remember doing homework. I'm trying to remember doing homework. Oh my God. I can't even remember doing homework for real. I know before my mom passed, like we had to do our homework, clean up the house. You know, you had to come in, like clean the house up, make sure the house clean, do your homework, make sure something's taken out. You know what I'm saying? But I can't remember doing homework. I don't remember it. I remember my sister telling me I had an ugly handwriting. My sister was very traumatic to me. I don't think she knows how she affected my life. Mm. I'ma just go ahead and I'ma just stop right here because I need to. Because I need to. I need to stop right here. Maya, I hope as I was talking, you was talking. I hope as I was talking, you was talking. I hope as I was talking, y'all was talking. I'ma I'ma go. Um, I love y'all, and we gonna heal, and we gonna build our army, cause we gotta heal first, so we don't carry the trauma to the battlefield. So when we on the battlefield, we see clearly, without the trauma. I love y'all. I'll be back. If you don't see me tonight, you'll see me Wednesday.